Well, I have a problem, well, a small annoyance with my SR. Uh, this isn't a stock petcock. This is an aftermarket one. The stock petcock that they use is a vacuum-operated automatic petcock. Well, I ditched that a long time ago, and I put a regular manual one. The automatic one runs off vacuum from the stock carburetor. They got a line that runs up, and there's a diaphragm, and they're prone to failure. The diaphragms can go bad or stick, and like a lot of times you have to. There's a prime. There's no off on them. It's automatic off. Well, you can't count on that automatic off. So I switched it to a standard petcock. But the one on the SR is exactly like this. This is another new one. But it's leaking, and I was trying to figure out where. There's two outlets because these work on a bunch of different bikes, all that have the same pattern. And you've got, with it comes, more gaskets and stuff. But I'm almost thinking, at first I thought it was the outlet. It could be this one. But I'm thinking it was the outlet. But looking at this now, I'm thinking they've got a gasket in here between that outlet plate and the actual petcock. I wonder, I got to check them screws on the, I got to pull the tank to get that off of there. But I think that might be my problem. It's because it doesn't leak when it's off. So I don't think it's anything up here. But when it's on, it'll drip. When I'm running the bike. I'll get someplace, I'll notice I got a little bit of gas on my leg. Just a few drops, but I'm thinking, well, I was thinking it was this fitting. But I'm thinking, I got to check that gasket. Of course, I could just swap it out with this one. I mean, it's the same one. But it's an annoyance. But I'll have to drain the tank then. If I drain the tank, I won't have to take the tank off. I can just drain it and take two screws loose and the petcock will fall off. They're just sealed with a rubber O-ring. But I was just going to look and see what the theory could be. And I think that's it. Them screws could have backed out a little bit, or the gasket might be poor. But I'll have to pull the petcock off to find out. Good petcock though, good that, much better than the automatic. Those full automatic ones are just a pain in the ass. But I will mention too, this little flashlight that I'm using. This is an inspection design. It is a Coast G22. Now they run on one AAA battery. And they're like, they're two brightnesses. Like that's right, it's 100 lumen. That's a dim 45 lumen. Now, I really like, it's a single battery. And what I like, I can change that battery even in the dark. I carry a packet of those in my pocket. And they run like 3 hours on low, like an hour and a half on high. But a very nice flashlight for around $10. Been really impressed with that. It's got a very focused beam. It's not focusable, but it's got a very intense focused beam. But it is for inspecting, like when you're working on motors and stuff in odd places. It throws a very intense light. Very good flashlight. I run across it in the grocery store. Now I ordered a bunch more in because one day I couldn't find it and I was freaking out. So I got more of them coming. But very well built. You know, aluminum, waterproof, solid flashlight. But I think Coast has a reputation. But it is the G22. You know, they make a whole series of flashlights, but I like, you know, my whole series, one battery. I can switch it in the dark, you know, by feel. Now, if you got one of them, like I've got some flashlights that have got 4 AAA batteries in them. Well, damn, you know, they're hard enough to change out in the daytime, much less at night in the dark. It would be a tough job. And anytime when you got more connections, you know, the more connecting areas you have in there, the more likely to have a failure. Like that, them 4 ones, a lot of times I'll run electrical tape around them to tighten them up so they don't jar loose. Otherwise, a lot of times, you know, you're banging a flashlight trying to get that connection again. This has never failed me. Very impressed with that. You know, I've had other flashlights. There was one I had, it was a mag light. And it was one of them where they do this thing. It used 2 AAAs. But they've got them so souped up that they run hot. You know, they throw a hell of a light for a short period of time. But it was actually, the flashlight itself, since that battery was discharging so rapidly, the flashlight would heat up in your hand. You know, and I don't need that. It's like, you see them these advertising these military grade that you can start a fire with them. Well, I don't need that either. You know, I need just a little light, but I want to be able to get right in to see what I'm working on. Like a regular flashlight, a lot of times they're brighter than I want. And I see I got deer walking right outside the window. Like say if I go outside and the horse is out there, he'll flinch when the light hits it. They're too bright. You know, I don't need that much light. A lot of times when I'm doing that sort of thing, I actually walk with my hand over the light to keep it from bugging the animals. You know, the deer just casually walk through my yard. They would do that more often. Oh, they must have heard me. Now they're going the other way. Not too those. But I'm going to have to break down and pull that petcock off so I can take a look and see what I got going on in the backside. But these are great. The vacuum operated ones, I had a 650 one time. They had 2 of them on there, and they did a recall on them, and they replaced them with new ones because all of a sudden they would leak and you'd get a crankcase full of gas. You know, that's not good. These, you know, manual that you can just shut off. That's what I need. I don't need no automatics. I want a manual with an off and a reserve. You know, them automatic ones, then, like I said, the bike has got to be running or they ain't going to flow. So a lot of times you would have to put it on prime to get gas, to get the thing started, to get your petcock to open up. Just a pain in the ass they were. But it's one of them, you know, trying to make it foolproof, and it causes you problems down the road. This is a lot better setup. And I'd swear that stock petcock, you know, like on a stock SR with that petcock on it, if you run like say 85 miles an hour for like a mile, it'll start running poorly. I don't think you get enough flow to the automatic petcock. And probably if you're running full throttle, you don't have the vacuum to keep the actuator open. You know, that could be part of the problem. But it would restrict the fuel in some way. This is no restriction. But I thought I'd mention, you know, Coast. Very good little $10 flashlight. Gotta like that. Really, like I said, I was freaking out when I lost this one because, I like this one.